Shadows of Deception by Sarah Toth is an action-packed fantasy novel with a strong female protagonist named Aine. The review highlights the book's fast-paced plot, creative magical world, and relatable character.
Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're jumping headfirst into Shadows of Deception, this gritty fantasy novel by Sarah Toth.
Oh, I just finished this one, and let me tell you, it grabs you from the first page.
We've got an excerpt to dig into, plus a review to unpack.
Right.
So
let's get to it. You know, what really struck me right from the excerpt is how Toth uses the setting, the sticks, to actually almost like reflect what's happening inside Aine, the main character.
Okay, yeah, because the way she describes it, it's so vivid.
Absolutely. Vivid's an understatement. She doesn't hold back. You've got these decaying docks, the smell of fish and salt just like hanging in the air, this constant feeling of danger, you know? It gets under your skin.
And it's not just a backdrop, right? The sticks feels like its own character almost.
Exactly. It's this living, breathing thing, and you're right there with Aine, seeing it all through her eyes, even though she's just a kid.
And that's what makes it so powerful. I mean, talk about relatable. This child trying to understand a world that's already tough, let alone with her, abilities.
Right, and that's where Toth's use of perspective is really clever, I think. Because we see it all through Aine's eyes, we get that childlike wonder alongside all the fear and the uncertainty.
It's those little moments, right? Like when she's mesmerized by the doll or the fabrics in the market. Those get you.
Oh, absolutely. It makes you root for her even more because you know it's all kind of fragile. And it makes her mother's love, that fierce protectiveness, even more heartbreaking.
Oh, for sure.
You see this woman trying to give Aine hope, even though the reality is so bleak.
That scene with the sweet buns, even though it's so short, it just got to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like this tiny spark of good in this otherwise brutal place.
And that makes what happens next with the saw even more, well,
intense.
Exactly. It's that classic storytelling. You get comfortable and then bam, everything changes.
Polina was spot on in her review. The action is nonstop in this excerpt.
Doesn't let up.
1 minute, they're enjoying a treat. The next, they're running for their lives.
Throws you right into the thick of it. You feel that panic with the Aine.
And then there's Queen Mal, this shadowy figure controlling everything.
Yeah.
We don't even meet her directly, but you can feel her presence, especially with those slaw creatures.
Her enforcers, right. And we're searching for a child with green eyes. It makes you wonder, what's so special about this kid? Makes you realize there's a bigger story there, a mystery to unravel.
It adds this whole other layer for sure. Then there's that chase through the marketplace, it being running for her life.
Talk about a page-turner. You see Amine's resilience, right? She has to use her powers even though it's a risk. And the way she remembers her mother's words, survive, it's heartbreaking, but also, like, there's this fire in her.
It's rough, though, because then, well, her mother.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It changes everything.
It's a huge turning point. That loss is massive, but it also becomes this driving face for Aine.
That promise, that one word, survive, it's all she has left.
And that brings us to the core of it all, this idea of survival that runs through the whole excerpt. And survival here, it's not just about staying alive, is it? It's more than that. It's about finding that strength to keep going when everything's telling you to stop, to face that kind of loss, that fear, and still somehow choose hope.
It's that kind of strength we can all connect with, I think. Even if we haven't had to, outrun a monster, it makes you wonder, what do we all have inside us just waiting to come out?
Right. It's like this hidden well waiting to be tapped. And that actually brings me to something Polina mentioned in her review, the pacing. She said the action, while it's gripping, it sometimes overshadows the characters a bit.
Which I can see that, because you're going a mile a minute from the get-go with Heroine.
Exactly. And she pointed out, you wonder if, in all that rushing, do we miss some of the finer points, the little emotional things that make the characters, especially the other ones, feel real?
So it's like we're speeding towards something and maybe missing the view along the way.
Yeah, in a way. It's a tough balance for authors, keeping things exciting, but also letting those characters, breathe. But to be fair to Toth, this was an excerpt, right? Small bite.
True. Like judging a whole meal based on one appetizer.
There you go. And I think with this excerpt, she did what she needed to do. She got us hooked, made us want more.
No argument there. And it definitely leaves you with questions, like what happens to Aine? She's alone, hurt, people are hunting her.
That's the beauty of a good cliffhanger. You got to know what happens next.
Speaking of,
yeah.
Did you catch that last line? And then the ground gave way beneath me. I mean, talk about a cliffhanger.
Right. What's down there? Is it worse? Better.
Could be anything. It's such a great way to end because it could go anywhere from there.
See, that's good storytelling. Make 'em wonder. Make 'em guess.
And when you think about how much Aine's been through already,
Yeah.
and she keeps going.
It shows you something about her. Even in this short piece, she's not just someone who needs saving.
No, not at all.
She's a fighter, even if she doesn't know it yet.
She's like those classic fairy tale heroes, facing impossible odds and somehow making it through.
Perfect comparison. At Reedsy, she fits right in. The world tries to knock her down, but she's got that core of, I don't know, toughness that shines through.
And that's what gets you, I think. We've all had those moments where you have to dig deep, find that strength you didn't know you had. Maybe not battling magical creatures or anything, but life can be tough.
Oh, tell me about it. And that's the sign of a good story, right? When it shows you those universal truths, those emotions we all feel, even if it's in a world totally different from ours.
And Shadows of Deception, even in this little glimpse, it does that so well.
It really makes you think, what would it take for us to find that hidden strength in ourselves?
Right. It's easy to say, oh, I'd be tough, but this excerpt, it makes you really picture it. What would it take to survive when everything's on the line, you know?
Especially with what Ellen's going through, that grief. It's not just about escaping, it's about dealing with that loss and still finding a way to, I don't know, to keep going.
And that takes me back to something Polina said. She called Aine a strong female character. And it got me thinking, it's not just that she's physically, strong or brave, though she is. It's that inner strength, that refusal to give up.
It's like it's burned into her by what she goes through. And that's something we all get, right? Even if our own struggles are different. It's that voice that says, I'm not done yet, even when it seems impossible.
That feels like the heart of it all. That little spark of, I don't know, hope that keeps Aine going, even when everything's telling her to quit.
It makes you wonder about our own strength, doesn't it? What we do for the people we love. Sometimes the bravest thing is just getting up in the morning,
It's amazing how this short excerpt, it can be so dark, so intense, but then you see those moments of strength in Aine. It makes you wonder, how will she make it in this world that seems designed to crush her?
See, that's the magic of a good book. Toth, she's got you hooked. And anyone looking for a story that pulls you in, a character you instantly care about, I'd say give Shadows of Deception a shot.
I'm with you on that. Leaves you wanting more. So, what about you listeners? What would you do if you were in Eveline's shoes? It really gets you thinking about survival, about that hidden strength we all have. Until next time, keep exploring.